If you go to a football, what's salt and vinegar potato chips, so they bring them back, so I can have some for lunch.
Alrighty, I am calling the Village of Cross Plain Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee to order. It's June 5th. To order, roll call, please.
Deb Cutler. Here. Tim Hillebrand. Jed Henry. Michael Polmakowski.
Here.
Jalen Cole.
Here. All right, we're at public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee. Please observe the time limit on certain events while the Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee encourages input from residents and also act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. I don't see anybody here or anybody on the computer. Go to reports. I have, for committee chairperson, I have nothing on the agenda. Committee members, anybody? All right, we'll go to the finance director.
I was just gonna share with the group, we got our final audit back. It is out on our website if anyone wanted to look at it. As usual, we got the clean audit report. I think we are still currently healthy cash wise. We had some revenues were higher, mostly interest income. We made a lot on interest income that was not budgeted for. And then we had some staff turnover, which created some savings and some salary and benefit accounts. So we added to our cash balance again last year. Anything of note you want to add to that, or?
No.
Okay. Did anybody look it over and have questions?
That came pretty straightforward.
I had some. I figured out like what we were talking about. So, but then I had just a different question. Like, this is okay. Like, if the sewer and their budget or water doesn't use all their money, go into how does that get?
Yeah, that's it.
It's just in their cash. Yeah.
It just there is this cash. No, it doesn't go into one of their time fund.
No.
You know, but so it's a okay. So they do it like in
Yeah, they just don't call it a fund balance.
Yeah, I think isn't the sewer one called the fund?
You could go into that, yeah. It's essentially just it sits in cash.
Okay, see, that's where I was. Are those balances high in either of those two funds? Water?
I wouldn't say they're like high where we need to like spend them down. I think they're at a comfortable amount.
For example, the depreciation one, that one has, we use some of that for rural rebuild.
Yeah, no,
right. So
yeah, those are all the restricted. I think he means like all the unrestricted stuff.
Yeah.
Some of those that are restricted, yeah.
Like I know, like we, because of the revenues that's some goes into the like into the debt to pay off the like the principal and interest. Some goes into the appreciation fund replace, or like you said, this treatment plant. There's one for inside the plant. There's one for outside the plant. There's the debt one, and so all those get paid. But yeah, it's about like at the end of the year, like cash because not everything was spent in utilities. Like what those funds were, I wasn't sure if I could listed or not.
I don't think it's broken
down
to the general fund, and you know, it's just
no, it's not.
No,
those
the water and
so it stays within the sewer,
yeah,
and it goes into one of those cash accounts, or
it just stays as cash, and you just yeah.
I'd have to look. I thought they were category.
I don't think the sewer is generating a ton of extra excess.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I was just this is I'm wondering, I'm reading and trying.
And I think if we don't get our new water rates in place, then the water's not.
Yeah, that's why I asked that today.
Yeah.
So I was saying,
how much is that gonna go?
I think the average bill will be like $10 or $15.
I don't think that.
You don't think it'll be that high?
It's 42%. Take your water,
just the water
your bill, multiply it by.
Oh, right. Is sewer going
to no, sewer's not going to. It's just water. So
water is fine.
For me, I think I figured out it'd be like $450.
Water is fine, it's the sewer that kills everybody. That is. The
Yeah.
water's this much.
Well, we have not changed sewer rates since 2015. So
Still a much bigger number.
if you think about inflation from then, it could be a lot higher.
It's just that we have a very high.
Yes.
But I think water, we're at $9.50 for base and that's for, I think I get 20 gallons, so I think another. It's not as big, like I said, I figured it out.
Is that for increase approved?
Okay.
It was approved like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
but we can't put it into place because we had to wait for the well projects to get done and those were behind because stuff was back ordered. So we started paying back the debt, but we don't have the revenues in place to pay the debt.
Yes, well, that was set up with an increase in water rates for like 70% of it and then 30% covered by it. Problem is you can't start doing that until the project is closed and we get into the DNR loan. Because that's kind of how the PSC runs. So because of the delay that we've had, you know, because we couldn't get the generator, we couldn't get the control panel, that put us waiting. So, but Jerry thought we might be able to have everything. Well, two's the new well, they've been updating well two. He thought by July, be able to close that out. Then we can kick in to get, right now we've been using that technically only the 30%.
Or cash balance, that obviously isn't, that's because we already have the increase. I was thinking if we have a lot of cash, they look at that.
There's not like a lot, like I would not say there's an abundance of cash in either utility rate.
Yeah, I did.
No, but the big key is getting that new revenue covering, because that will make us healthier because he works in, they want a 4% profit or whatever.
Rate of return.
Yes, that's what I guess, instead of profit, rate of return, which is, you know, to me real questionable, but hey, it is what it is, we can't do it.
It kind of makes sense because, I mean, the 4% is not a huge amount, but if something, you know, there's a bad year or something major that gets broken, like another 500 rainstorm, then there's that cushion for fixing stuff. Not the worst, make money off of a nonprofit thing I've ever heard, aka the NFL. But yeah, it's just a protection against inflation and gravity.
End of July.
Well, that's what Jerry was hoping originally. But, well, and they're getting.
What else do they have?
I didn't get into.
Yeah, he didn't say what else.
He just says it's moving along very well. So I then, does that mean we'll have by the end of June? Is it end of July?
And paying the water
No.
rate, that's the whole turf.
Yeah, but it's coming out of that, isn't it?
No, I think we do GO borrowing.
Oh, we did it?
Well, we haven't done it yet.
No, we haven't done it.
We need to.
Yeah, they haven't started that yet. That should. You
Yeah, that's fine.
I guess. So. Is it the PSC, was that only for the? Was it part of for brewery?
Brewery Road and the wells.
Okay.
They all three projects had to be done.
You submitted, this is how much it's gonna
Okay.
cost. Off of those costs, they did it, so. With the payment of the water tower, that isn't in our rating.
Okay,
We're
right.
not borrowed, that could actually hurt the water. Utility. Paying off that loan. Not really gonna be.
I mean, it's only $200,000, so I don't.
Right, anyways. Yeah. It's kind of.
Right.
So 4%, like you up by 4% rate of returns.
Well, and then the rate case was not based on all these new homes. So now we've had all the, 50 new homes come on in the last 2 years. So we have all their.
The rate wasn't, but impact fee.
Yeah. Yep.
They water their lawns, and
I get you, so like, so we're getting that addition of the house on the rate.
Yeah.
Right.
This thing.
Right, but the impact are clearly.
Future homes. Yep.
Yeah, future.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, like, we're doing okay.
All right, anything else on the audit?
No, it was on the budget.
I have a I guess I'll say thing, and that is, reading it, it looked like the library, like their fund balance, like 100. Type of library. Is that just controlled by the library? That's my question.
Their fund balance is not covered under our fund balance policy. That is something that I've talked about the last couple years, and nobody does anything. I mean, I can't tell the library board what to do, so it just sits
That's
there.
the big problem.
Well,
We can't tell the library board what to do. We can only tell them how much money we're getting, and they decide.
yeah,
That's my biggest.
but
So they need to have a plan how to spend that, or what level.
Well, I mean, when they come, like this last year, they came to the our capital replacement, and the board just refused that and say, $136,000 fund balance, hot water, you have to pay.
Well, I guess we could do something like that. We could say we're not going to fund it. We can't tell them how to.
Well, right, exactly. I mean, yeah, we don't have.
I think you have changed the leadership and number of people on it. I think that attitude or the perception of what how they do things has changed compared to what it was.
Yeah.
You don't tell us what to do. We'll tell you what we're going to do. I think that's changed. I think that could be a starting point.
Yeah, maybe. And Elizabeth is easy to work. So I think.
How much is reasonable for one of these funds to have extra at the end of?
So our policy says we have to have a minimum 20% of the next year's expenses. So if their next year expenses are $200,000, they would need a fund balance of 40,000.
And they don't mix the Friends of the Library money.
They do not. No, that's separate. That's this library endowment fund. Right?
That library endowment is. Right, that endowment is actually something on the wall library.
Like donations and stuff.
Yeah, it's basically. Pam had told me that they had like $100,000 of left donations built, and they put it in. It's like the Madison.
Yeah, no, an endowment, just like a lot of them, is you put the money in, and the people can only spend the investment part of it. And you can never spend principal.
Rate of return.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the rate of return.
Right, and I know when they were on there, they did actually take some out per year. Like it would come out.
They give $2,000 back to the library. Right. They take $2,000 out of the endowment fund and put it in the library.
So basically,
like in their budget, like isn't line on their budget. From the endowment, $2,000 out.
So
put it, yeah.
Are you worried that they have too high of a budget or something?
Their cash is accumulating.
Yeah,
because they wasn't a concern of cash. It's just that they're coming to the village board with a under $5,000. Honestly,
pay cash for it.
There's capital standard for capital improvement. I mean that's what they were doing years ago, taking small things capital.
Right, no, we have there's a standard now, but I think what he's talking about is
borrowing versus paying.
Yeah, having the library cover some of their own costs. That's instead of
have $136,000.
Right. That's an example.
How longer is that building? I thought that was like a 10-year building.
Pam Pam always said that. I heard that from Pam.
Then it's only built for 10 years?
The original one was built, it'll be a 10-year step before we need to redo 10 years in.
That we would
Add on, right?
outgrow it and
Because-
need add-on or more important, or things like boiler systems. 10 years is a really great time. But one of the things I noticed, not in here, but in the check register, they have a huge electric bill for a green friendly building. I mean,
Great things for
yeah, I mean, something, because we've talked about, and might be out of order because we had a topic on it, of looking for ways to save money is, yes, we might have to spend some money to improve whatever is going on with their electrical, but over time, it will not only save money, but actually make our library actually green again, because it's like $1,200 a month for their electrical. What are they lighting up? New York City?
Probably heat too.
Heat, gas, and even still, that's.
No, I don't know.
Well, if you compare it to all the other buildings,
Yes, but I think if it's true that they went with electric heat, where it's the boiler is heated by electric versus gas. Is it like, what's it?
also, in 10 years, a lot of things change.
Well, that library's over 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gotta
yeah, because I remember it was built like when I first came to town when the kids were 5 and they're turning 27 this.
You talk to boardrooms in the library, they're overdue. Haven't been building it now. Only till 10 years.
It also depends on how the library is gonna grow or,
Well, get it.
yeah, will be used because, okay, I'm a library junkie. I have a library science degree. I go to the Middleton Public Library and I get sad because there are no books there. It's like used to have, oh yeah, there's like giant wide open spaces. It looks to me more like a open office space than
Okay.
a library.
Yeah, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah, we are. And just, we bought 2,000 more books last year, so there's plenty of books down there, new ones. Because that was part of their annual report. But yeah, I guess, okay, anything more directed just to the audit, otherwise we'll move on to general business. All right, general business, number 1, discussion and possible approval of the April 3rd, 2024 Finance Advisory Committee meetings. Do I have a motion to approve those?
No motion.
Do I have a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say. So moved. Number 2, discussion and possible action regarding review of purchasing policy bid tabulation form. Yes, that would be Bob.
Yep, I was gonna say again, I looked through and there wasn't anything that qualified that they had to fill out the form. There will likely be some either next month or the month after. I know they're starting to buy some capital things, and so there'll be some of those forms we'll have to review.
So there's a couple of pickup trucks in capital this year or not?
I think there is one. Yep.
So you said that they, like with some of the capital, like with that bid stuff, and like I noticed, because you had put the bills in there that like, was this a new gravel that had been bought?
Yep.
Did that?
So that was budgeted in under 10,000, so it did not require. Yep, so if it's a budgeted thing, it has to be over 10. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
One reason I brought that up was when the firefighters bought a new Dodge pickup truck, 2022, brand new. It was
Oh.
I don't know if we ever research. We got that as long as the state bid, obviously, but if you got it for a song and a dance, it's and I don't know if we always have to buy. As long as it's new, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
those
the warrant.
Under us, do they? Because they're fire and EMS. So
No, he's just
as
an example.
Yeah, they buy stuff like that the state all the time. They're happy when you save money. You just have to do it through the approved vendors.
That's Department has a notice. No, they do that. And we do.
Yeah.
I guess I would have thought that.
It also
They were
depends on-
looking at, we always used to buy in August, be considered in August, the 1-year-old model. Clear all those
Oh,
out for the new ones coming in September. So yeah, your car's a year old, miles on it. Yeah. Anything else? All right, number 3, discussion and possible action regarding Cross Plains area EMS research. Just an update on this. I am going to present in June another proposal to the EMS district board, and we'll see what happens. This one, I think
I was looking at that. There's no budget for 2023. That most of that column is missing. There's actual, and then there's over budget. There's no budget.
Oh, I didn't even look at that notice.
yeah, no.
Where they don't have that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like pretty much the first 2 pages of that is all over budget because there was
The budget column isn't in there.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, we'll
Oh, for this year it's in there.
and she's gonna.
So if you could send out a different version.
I don't think that's the
These
version.
aren't from me.
You won't get the 2023 on it. We should have it in July because she'll be submitting. We have a board meeting July 18th, and she's going to submit the 25 budget there, so you should be able to see the 2023, the 2024, and the 2020.
It's June, and this ends in December of 2023. We can't get a copy of 2023 6 months later. We have.
Well, you can get it if you want. This was the form that she gave. I just forward on what I get at the first board meeting.
Okay.
That's what they do. We don't generally get comparison one until the actual budget.
Because yeah.
I would think you could go into the software and print one out that had the budget column, but
it's just.
Well, I know they.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah.
But if we're gonna discuss this in coming months, yeah, this would be very, helpful, because you can't make any decisions.
No, we're not really, the idea of this was not necessarily to have a discussion on the EMS, because we have no say for that.
Yeah.
That's a district thing. It's to just give you an idea of how the line items, so the thought process would be for this item is, one of us would look at expenses, one would look at revenues, one would look at time commitment. And then this is what you get. So the additional information, I was gonna have you, send me what other additional information is, then I would get it from the chief. This was just a starting point, start the research. Clearly this is not, we would need a lot more information than what's there to come up with a true cost, true revenue.
Yeah.
But this was just a starting point of it. So it's not to discuss that budget because we have no say with that. That's done, and that's not in our lane. But if we're looking at a potential of starting an EMS program, then this is a starting point.
Well, it is what it is, and since the budget line isn't there, so we don't know how much they went over. So yeah, it's a starting point of what they spent last year. Which I'm amazed they only spent $65 on CPR equipment, but okay.
do they, so like the other night they had that, they're doing their fundraiser right now. Those funds and the stuff they buy out of those funds, that is not on these.
That is correct.
Right?
That's the association.
Yeah, so they might buy some equipment out of the associate, like So it wouldn't
So
be
it's like
this.
the library.
Yeah,
Yeah, and fire does the same thing.
Yep.
They have the fire, when you give that money, you're not giving it to the fire district, you're giving it to the firefighters corporation. They pitch in and pay for stuff.
And that's why it's important to understand, so CPR equipment, hard goods, very well maintained and kept, because they don't need to spend a lot on upgrading that, and plus they charge it. Understand what each one of those are, $65 may be normal because they have all the equipment, they clean it, reuse it, and.
And 65 is probably for wipes.
Yeah, as I said, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah,
What the
no,
budget is. I'm sorry.
Again, it's just informational thing to see what information would be available. So, or pulling other documents or. So, I think we'll just put that on hold for now, and we'll have a better idea, and I'll have a better plan come July.
But
All
your
right.
future plan is to hope for us to break that down if the board is interested.
Correct. And
I'm
we
sure
can't.
that's the point. I'm sure it's available from.
Oh yeah,
auditors.
Yeah, like I say, I was almost going to pull this off. I could have done. Well, I thought, did I bring the one from the last meeting that showed first quarter? We had the first quarter.
Yeah,
But July, I'll get. Yeah, I thought we had that. So
yeah, it's in here.
I'll have the second quarter one, so that'll give us half a year then. 2024.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.2. This is we had that discussion at the last meeting in April. This is on here just if anybody had more ideas on it. We had a pretty good discussion. I thought we had some good ideas, but I just said I'd bring it back. If someone had any other ideas. Not looking for much here unless someone has something on to add to our last. All right. Then number 5, discussion and possible action regarding the 2024 capital improvement plan. Bobby, is this yours?
I think this is something. Tim, did you bring this up at maybe February or March?
Yeah, it might have been me because we talked about in the past that.
Right, things we could look at or.
Yeah, and do research for them to help them make better decisions, and
all right, well,
that might be my fault.
Those
it's not fault. I didn't know what exactly we were looking that we wanted to do.
Those 2 items are taken care of.
Capital budgets and just someone broke down or signed out to.
But we do that at when they're like, we'll be getting the 2025 ones in August. That's when we get it to the group to look at. At least in the past, that's all.
I don't think we did do it for 2024, honestly.
Shoot, the problem is I just threw out. I'm pretty sure I did because I had notes on one, but I cleaned out my bin, and that was one of the things I taught. But I had in there, and I thought I had names of people who were going to look at it.
Oh yeah, yep. I remember that.
Sure
yeah.
I did.
Yep.
Okay.
I just tossed that, so I can't come up. But I thought we assigned people to certain items. So that will happen in August, if I'm correct. The CIP goes to the board, just to the board in August. And then we vote on it in September, or do we?
I think it's the
July.
I think they get it in July, and we talk about because yeah, then the first draft of that.
So the August meetings will have it.
25.
Yes. Yeah. But if there's something in 24, because like you say, we haven't purchased a great deal out of 4. So if there's something that catches your eye, I'm trying to think. It was pretty straightforward, I thought.
We got a dump truck.
Well, I'm kind of confused why the EMS has nothing for their facility this year in the budget. Are they not planning on? Is it not for any maintenance or anything?
Well, that would be operating.
I think this don't need to find capital, but ambulance for it.
It's coming though, we have one on
Yeah.
order.
How many months out is it?
It's hard to say, that's a very interesting story. Cuba City ended up ordering it like 2 years ago. Yeah, and then they ended up breaking up that district and they're going some, so now they had this ambulance. So we ended up buying it, them at that cost. And that was a savings right off the bat of 30-40 grand.
Nice.
And then we put in all the stuff we want in it, but there's a back order on them putting these ambulances together. So I guess I'll have to ask in July when that's coming. Have you heard?
I heard June or July of next year is when.
Okay.
Yeah, those things are multi-year out. I know TDS is having that problem with their big trucks.
Yeah.
It's, every guy wants to drive an F-150, so now they can't have the F-150s at, the workman level, because why not just throw in a couple of cool things and get twice as much for it?
And look how long it took to get the fire. Holy man.
Are we ever gonna get our squad cars?
Is that why there's 65,000 at multiple years?
Well,
for
we haven't borrowed for it.
No, I mean, there's not a lot of money.
There might be.
There's 148.
Trying to get an actual number to say it's.
Oh, that was public facility.
Could be less.
No, I was just saying, that's the only capital thing that I
Just
see.
replace it.
And I know that's for sure thing. Yeah.
Page 60.
And you're right, the squads, I don't know when we'll get back order on those too.
It's
I
back
saw
order.
the electric ambulance came from Demir, from vendors, 730,000. Like, what do you think people are supposed to do?
Yeah.
I don't quite get it.
The buyer's market, or a seller's market, sorry. Buyers.
So is there anything on this that people wanna look into? If I remember, it's pretty straight.
I think the only thing really left would be, I don't know where Jerry is on the dump truck. I know he's been pricing lawn tractors with a couple, because we talked about that. He bought this brush grapple.
Because that's definitely over.
And then this Polaris Gem electric utility vehicle. I don't know if Mike was still planning
But
to.
that was gonna be on grant. That's what I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Been going on for years.
Yeah, and we get.
It keeps
bumped
getting
off.
carried over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're up, but for some reason we get bumped. He explains it, I can't remember, but we get bumped.
I was sorry about the ATV or.
Right.
Is he bringing it electric?
No.
That was to replace Dayton's Dodge Dakota.
Oh, that's right.
This electric vehicle is to replace the van.
Oh, okay. One of them replaces one. Yeah.
It's an amazingly complex world that is still way too dependent on paper.
Well, I guess those that people have, and I'll be honest with you, I just don't have time.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I was just looking. They all seem pretty reasonable. I mean.
And I think it's helpful that, department heads know that we are looking at this and we're holding them accountable, so they are doing a better job of getting bids and looking. We've done our job.
Responsible. I mean, everybody says I don't have enough money, and you go, okay, have you looked at this, and this? Made a couple of phone calls and see if there's a better price somewhere, because not only does that possibly save you money, but when you ask the guy you've been going to for a million years, you say, hey, we're just doing quotes, just check everything out. Boy, they suddenly change their pricing structure, or they bump up their services, and
there's definitely negotiations, and I think the economy is slowing down a little bit. So obviously, I'm keeping tabs on construction industry. We're going to be building this. It's looking good for us. Ideal builders, I know someone in there, and they said their last bid, they have lots of So they were very happy with that, and usually they had to take whatever. So I think there's some slowing down going on, there'll be some competition, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that'll happen, and you see Target, you see a number of other major companies lowering prices to bring people back, because they got it to where we only have so many dollars, and when you pay so much for some of this stuff, so you're kind of seeing that, that some of these big companies are starting to lower some of the prices, and it might be a gimmick, but I'll take it anytime.
Might also be a pushback of your
Price
executive
gouging.
staff made, billions. Your company made billions this year. You really can't argue that you're charging as low as possible and also paying your people as much as possible because math just doesn't work. So,
All right, anything else? Any other?
Since you listed all the bills, okay,
Yeah.
just can look back at one that's not this group, but it's for Don's Tire, like it's
Okay.
I miss them being in town. They were really nice. They used to be basically behind where Quick Trip is.
Yeah.
I once had my tires die like right outside town, and I just, slipped in there, left my car, and okay.
except they've been out of business for years.
Yeah, I haven't blown any
That's not
time.
fun, I'm gonna just pay for.
But I don't think it's Don.
No,
I don't.
yeah, there's God's tire by. No, there's actually one in Madison over by the movie theater.
That makes sense. I thought
I did wonder what PW supplies were because
Public Works.
I hate that phrase. I just
Right. Future, any future agenda items?
We have the room tax ordinance we were gonna look at next month, right?
Yep, yeah, we can't do it tonight because it's
No,
not
right,
up.
the future.
right.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, gotcha, absolutely.
Is that even gonna be
Oh,
is anybody using it yet?
no,
but
but
I
get it in place before someone.
Here, I got
Yeah.
my, just wait, I got my,
And it went through staff today, so, we'll come here.
I did this
You
website.
have that building on Main Street,
Yeah,
upstairs is supposed to be some sort of.
rental.
The railroad.
And if we actually get to be, then maybe we'll get some Airbnb. So yeah, we gotta get it ready to go.
Maybe
Yep.
this isn't for this committee, but like. Contracts, so. We approved paying the Yelps. There,
Yeah, we extended that contract.
that's like 8,000, so there's maybe 10,000 threshold, or even like, one for the fire station, but that means that Matt's not exactly, you said they just signed the contract, so we're tied down with them for years.
The fire extinguishers?
See this company or whoever does that?
Cintas.
I mean, like you said 2 months ago, it was like, we are just signed a contract with them, does that mean we're locked into them?
Yes.
Yeah, you're locked into that contract, but it's certainly something, usually on that, can't be a very long one.
The Cintas contract that I was talking about was just for like uniforms and paper supply, like toilet paper, paper towels.
The fire extinguisher, if the library wanted to switch to gas and fire, could we do that?
I would think so. I know that when we had talked to Jerry about it, he was did not have a good experience with Jefferson Fire, I think was.
And I get that, I just, I respect where he's coming from, but I also understand that we're not line workers that, a lot of times these companies will call you and say, we're gonna be there at 2 or make those phone calls, well, they all have cell phones that receive those calls, say, we're running later. Throw a lot of that money out the door because somebody didn't show up one time when they have staff that's capable of being maneuvered.
Yeah, and we have to always appreciate that things change over. I don't know how long you will get the bad experience, but if it was 10 years ago, other we should give them another chance, you know.
Oh, yes and no.
Yeah.
It depends on what the bad experience was. I mean, the criteria I usually work with repair companies are pretty typical. Do you fix it on the first try? Is your billing clear and I don't have to call you and ask questions? And then personality goes in because I'll take a horrible person if 1 and 2 is great. Because if you fix it on the first time and your billing is not wonky, you could be the biggest jerk you ever want to be. But
All right, I think we gotta get a little bit back focused. Any other future agenda items? That's what.
Yeah, I guess did we kind of
that?
figure out what you wanted to talk about?
I was just like other contracts we may have on a yearly basis that plan.
Okay, so,
I think, yeah.
you're talking about maybe something we should be looking more at, not necessarily an item.
Right, yeah. I mean, for something to have.
Us versus Jefferson Fire.
Right.
or if not as looking at it ourselves, just asking the department heads when was the last time they sent out a request for quotes on these services, just to see if they're still the most competitive and best company to work with. Because we are in Cross Plains, so I bet you it limits a few of these services come out here.
Or if we hire, that's probably hire people, train somebody from our people to be a fire inspector, fire extinguisher inspector, they can do it.
Yeah, no, that,
But then you lose that employee, then you don't have it, you know. Yeah, it's a vicious circle, but yeah.
I think we clearly should probably look at those when we're looking at the budget, right? Me, that would be part of
I don't know if we have contracts, so maybe that's the list we could.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
a year or two ago, Jay had directed department heads to look for savings in our departments, and that was, you know, things we looked at was those kinds of things was something we looked at.
and that's, like I say, I think that's just remind people, take a look at what we have and just don't automatically renew, look and think about, are there other ones out there, make a few. Normal thing every year that we got.
Like our postage machine, the post office is changing all this stuff at June 30th. So we had to decide if we were gonna buy a new machine with our current company or switch companies. So I got quotes from 2 different companies, looked at them.
Oh, you have to update the whole postage machine.
We have to get a whole new postage
because they're not gonna just download update.
Right.
Yeah, well, like I say, I think
So there was a.
I think that's what we should be doing more of if it's not being done is, and I think what would probably be the best, instead of always looking at contracts, maybe developing a policy. You know, policy with contracts that everybody can live with, and then it's procedures, then we go.
Yeah.
I assume most of your contracts are for like 5 years for like 10,000.
A lot of them.
Yeah. So, you know, saying every 5 years when it comes due,
Shop around.
just shop around. It's not the worst thing to
No.
request.
After we do that with our copier, every 5 years when that lease comes up, we compare the 2 or 3 different companies in the area.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're doing that in a post machine, if you're doing it, that's great. It's just going in. Find something because you're mad.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we put it on we'll put it on the agenda, discussion of a contract policy. You just think of what people have and maybe there's some out there. Yeah. That would cover everything. Anything else? All right, I have a motion for adjournment.
So motion.
All right. A motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. All right, thank you very much.
Did I ever sign that one for you?
Does that have YouTube here?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, because you didn't show up last time.
What?
Do you want me to sign that?
Parks and Recreation.
Is that the ethics one?
Yeah.
All right, I'll,
My knowledge. That's what I did, that's what I told you, that's what I thought too.